justice for all. Thank you all and welcome to the meeting of the Board of Education. First item on the agenda, if I can get this thing to work, it's a moment of silence. Please join me in remembrance of Lucy Morose, a graduate of the North Syracuse Central School District, Mary Betty Lou Wheeler, a retired employee of the school district, and Julia Rio, a graduate of the North Syracuse Central School District. Thank you. We have a series of presentations. First is going to be the Reading Challenge Certificates of Merit, presented by Assemblyman Al Stupy. Assemblyman Stupy.
Well, I'm sure everybody's here just for this, right? No, but, we do want to congratulate all the students who did go ahead and accomplish the Summer Reading Challenge, which means you had to read 15 minutes a day at least for 40 days. So we're going to read off their names. If you're here, please come up. We'll give you your certificates. And afterwards, we're going to go out in the hall. If anybody wants to take pictures, we'd like to take one big group photo, and then we'll take individual ones if you want to, okay? Okay, Lily Alitzhauser. Bryant. congratulations to everybody. I want to thank all the parents, too, because I'm sure you played.
We would like to thank Assemblyman Sturpey for offering this program, because we do believe that reading is very important, and we're thrilled to see so many of the students here who accomplished that this summer. At this time, if the students who received the awards from the Assemblyman would like to go out and have a photo taken with him, just go on out quietly into the hallway. Thank you.
It seemed like there were far more participants this year than there have been in past years, too.
I think you're right. Yes. Good sign.
Next item on the agenda is School Administrator Appreciation Day. There's a proclamation that I will read. School administrators, the leaders of public schools, have had a positive impact on students, staff, parents, and members of the community at large. School administrators energize students and staff, respond to student needs, empower others, and recognize and celebrate achievement. School administrators, whether they work directly in a school building or at the district level, share the common goal of providing the foundation, environment, and professional learning community in which all students can learn and learn well. School administrators are entrusted with the well-being of our community's most precious members, the children. The administrators of the North Syracuse Central School District are professionals of the highest caliber. Students, parents, staff, and community members recognize, applaud, and appreciate their efforts to provide children with a 5-star quality education program. To honor the administrative staff of the North Syracuse Central School District and their accomplishments and efforts on our behalf of our community's most valuable resource, the children, I, Michael Schuster, President of the North Syracuse Central School District Board of Education, on behalf of the Board of Education, express our deepest gratitude to our administrators and proclaim November 2, 2017 as School Administrator Appreciation Day. There is a recommended board action to declare November 2 as School Administrators Appreciation Day in the district to be celebrated with appropriate educational activities. Is there a motion for such a declaration? Mr. Leon, Ms. Scanlon, all in favor? At this time, we have several administrators here. We'd like to have them all come up so that the audience can appreciate what you folks really do. So please come forward. Come on up. This is yeah. Right here. That's right. Yeah.
Director for Human Resources. John Keegan.
For everything.
Sam Ball. And Don Wilczynski, Assistant Superintendent. I appreciate all you do.
And I don't want to forget that the superintendent does qualify as an administrator, so we appreciate her as well. Next item on the agenda, the Gillette Road Middle School. Recognition to Mr. and Mrs. Paulus from Aspen Athletic Club for the Station Energy Station donation. Is that going to be Mr. Leahy? Mr. Leahy's coming up someplace? There he comes. There he comes.
Recognize Aspen at Club. About a year ago at this time, our students were walking to raise money for an energy fitness system, which is a designed for middle schoolers. It's very unique. Middle schoolers have got pretty close to our pricing mark, and we fell a little bit short. You guys have the same mission we do. We want to support kids and adopt healthy, active lifestyles, and we want to help Gillette Road Middle School get over the hump. And we want to really get that thing done, completed in spring, so in September, and lo and behold, by the end of August, we had it in there. We spoke with the PE teachers. So we came up with an idea, and this was the students as well as the teachers, and we decided we wanted something to go back to Aspen that you guys could take back with you. Wow. Which in our piece, hope Aspen will hold and hang on. Out there and work out. To have these kinds of partnerships. So a small token just to say thank you to all of our students at Gillette Road Middle School.
I just want to add thank you so much. It
Thank
truly is part of our vision and our mission to work cooperatively and have business partners that help with the mission of our district. So thank you so much. It's greatly appreciated.
And I'll accept a motion to accept with gratitude the gift of $3,573 from the Gillette Road Middle School PTG to go toward the Energy Fitness Junior System located at Gillette Road Middle School. Is there such a motion? Ms. Owens, Mr. Harrington, all in favor? Carried. Next is the Early Literacy Volunteer Recognition. Mr. Bowles.
We want to recognize Glory Abakube, who has worked with our students and our principals and our teachers with the ELVS program. The ELVS program is Early Literacy Volunteers, and Glory started volunteering back when my youngest was in school, because I know my wife also volunteered with her in the schools, and my youngest is 22. And Glory has been working with not only one of our elementary schools, but all 6. She's mobilized other volunteers to do early literacy with our kindergarten students, and she has helped work with teachers and train volunteers so they can recognize what our kindergartners need in all 6 elementary schools. And she has done it for years, and she's kind of moving on right now and kind of graduating because her students are no longer in school. But we wanted to take this moment to at least recognize Glory Abakube for all of her hard work and dedication as a volunteer for the North Syracuse Central School District.
Thank you.
I don't see Glory here, but the plaque says, Glory Abakube, in appreciation and recognition of your coordination and volunteer work with the North Syracuse Central School District Early Literacy Volunteers Program, North Syracuse Central School District Board of Education, 2017.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Next presentation is the Early Education Program at Main Street budget. And Don Hussein will, I know she's here somewhere. There she is. Come on ahead, Don.
So I think this is why everybody came tonight.
Yeah.
Is this working? Can you hear me on this? Okay. Yeah? So good evening, everyone. I'm Dawn Hussein. I'm the principal at the North Syracuse Early Education Program. Tonight I'm going to be talking to you about our 17-18 school year budget. So as many of you probably already know, our financing comes completely separate from the school district budget, which is why we present, separately from them. So I'll talk to you a little bit about our funding, where our money comes from, where it goes, and summarize that for you. So our revenue sources come from many different areas. The state and the county do fund our tuition rates for our special education students. So what's noted here is the tuition rates for our half-day students, our full-day students, and then the summer school tuition rates that we receive for our 6-week summer program for each student. We also have a non-disabled component where parents pay tuition for those typical students to come. So you see the range of what the tuition rates are here per month. And every year we do a market analysis to see what local preschools are charging. We try to ballpark our pricing right in the middle range there. So we like to remain competitive for what the local preschools are charging. Then the third source of funding comes from federal grants. We receive flow-through money from outside districts, so we're a county program. This year we currently have 10 different outside districts that attend our program, where students come in and we receive funding from their school district. We also receive money in the form of a CPSE grant, and we receive revenues by doing evaluations. So this is a summary of what our estimated revenues are for the 17-18 school year. And the first column going down where it says aids and grants, that's the money that we receive for the special education students for the tuition rates. The second column is the money that we receive for the non-disabled preschoolers that attend our program, where parents pay the tuition. And then the total, the $5,468,623 is the estimated amount of total revenue for our program for this school year. These are the proposed budget expenditures for this school year, broken down into different categories. We're expecting about a 1% increase this year overall. So different areas, as you see in that far right column, some areas up, some areas down, based on fluctuation with staffing. This graph just shows those same expenditures, but in a little bit more visual way. As you can see, about 89% of our total expenses are very specific to direct instruction for students. So salaries and benefits that are directly related to students takes most of our budget.
Dawn, just before you get so far ahead.
Sure.
On the previous slide and on this slide, there's rental facility rent for other facility use? What are we renting outside of the building there at Main
So for
Street?
expenses, so we're paying things like M&O repairs and things like that are billed to us. So most of that, the facilities charges come under things like work orders,
Okay.
repair work, that kind of thing. We're not actually paying a rent fee.
Well, I didn't know if you had to use an outside facility for like
No.
OT, PT,
No,
or
no.
anything
Nope.
like that.
No, it's just specific to what we're paying for those building expenses.
Okay.
So our overall financial condition for this year, we've got some really good things that are working for us. We did receive another 2% increase this year from the state. So we're on a 3-year stretch now of receiving that 2% increase. So we're getting back on track with our 7-year kind of freeze there in the past. So that's good news. We also have received some supplemental funding recently from Assemblyman Al Sturpey. So it's too bad he's not here again for me to thank him, but his support definitely has helped to. Oh, he is here. Thank you, Mr. Sturpey. So we do have an adequate fund balance in order to support the deficit that we're anticipating for this school year. And there are some interesting meetings that are happening in Albany that we have started attending. There's one in September, one in October, and one coming in November as well, where they're taking a look at the reimbursement methodology for special class integrated settings. So we're hoping that some good positive things will come out of that. The first meeting that happened in September was really to discuss program staffing models and what programs need in order to be kind of the ideal program. And if we could get back to the time before we had made all the cuts, what would that look like? The October meeting is really specifically to talk about the finances, the money behind all of the other issues that kind of revolve around that. And then in November, there are some recommendations that are expected to come out of those meetings. And so the hope is that they'll be for positive changes. And so the last thing normally that we like to share with you is what are some of the things that we're working on, what are the next steps. We're really excited to continue to see that 2% increase coming from the state. We always are looking for ways to increase our revenues, so looking at things like particularly our non-disabled student enrollment. Our program is full for our disabled students, but we're always looking to enroll more of the typical students, the non-disabled preschoolers, to balance those classrooms. So we continue to look at our tuition pricing to see how we can continue to reevaluate that and make sure that we're competitive. One of the areas that we'd like to start putting some focus on is working on the evaluation rates. That's something where we've seen increase in the tuition rates, the evaluation rates that have come for reimbursement have actually, not only have they not been increased, but they have actually been reduced over time. So that's something that we'd like to work on. And the last thing is always just continuing to look for any kind of grant opportunities that are available to a program like ours. So that's all I have for the budget presentation. Are there any questions?
I just wanted to make a comment. Having the early education program in our district has been a vital means for us to get our kids started on the right foot as far as being ready for kindergarten. I've long been an advocate of your program because my children have gone through there, and luckily I have a daughter that was a special needs child, and she's in a sophomore in college. So everything that your teachers do at that school, I see the benefit of that every day. So thank you,
Jackie. It's nice to even see there's many Main Street graduates here in the audience tonight. So it's kind of cool to see as the kids grow up and move on, certainly. Any other questions?
Thank you, Don. Good luck. Next item on the agenda, comments from the audience. I have 4 people who have signed up to speak, all of whom wish to address the issue of a swimming pool. I would just tell you that a little bit later in the agenda, the superintendent is going to speak about the pool and what we plan to do with it. So after the speakers are done, I would ask you to remain so you can listen to what the superintendent has to say. First speaker, and again, I remind everybody, it's 3 minutes. Connie will time. First speaker is Deb Champagne. Deb, please come forward and use the microphone. Thank you. That one right there. You can sit right down.
Good evening. Once again, I stand here to plead the case to consider a pool for the North Syracuse School District. I've had children on the CNS swim team for the past 14 years. I've been to board meetings requesting a pool. I've been on committees requesting a pool. I put notes in the box after voting for budgets, and I've sent notes in. I've written online. It's extremely disappointing to see that there's been no consideration for these requests, or very little. We've had offers for support that would assist or help pay for the investment and even some of the initial maintenance, only to see this knocked out or try to be reallocated away from swimming. There have been so many schools that have put in new pools and even renovated existing pools, Liverpool, for example. Why can't North Syracuse School Board give us this consideration and allow the community to decide? Why do escalated numbers get presented to discourage this effort? There are very detailed studies and numbers that have been made available. We don't need an Olympic-sized pool here. We're requesting a high school pool similar to other districts. I no longer have children in the program, but I still firmly believe in a pool for CNS. Hey, maybe someday I will even have grandchildren in the district. Frankly, that will be if we have a pool. My children will not come back without a pool. 2 of my children to this district, they're coming back to the area, excuse me. Swimming was a recommended and helpful sport for them. 2 of my children were unable to participate in contact sports due to joint disorders. Unfortunately, it was extremely difficult at CNS School District. The time commitment was extremely challenging during the season. They had many very late nights, 2 a.m., trying to keep up and balance swim and academics. Swimming's a major commitment at our school compared to others. The travel time alone for the team to practice is much over an hour per day. The Syracuse schools that they swim at aren't exactly a safe, clean environment. I'm amazed that the CNS coaches continue to support swimming and the tremendous time commitment for them due to this lack of pool. My children participated full year in swimming and went to Liverpool Jets for private club. Jets was more reasonable time commitment, but a different school district. They also taught swim lessons to Liverpool students, district students, during the year and in the summer. Sure wish they could have done that right in their own school district. The statistics of a student involved in sports and academic success are amazing. I saw firsthand how swimming and academic achievement solidified their acceptance to college, medical school, and law school.
Thank you, Deb.
I'll continue.
Appreciate it. We've got it. Thank you.
I want to thank everybody in this room.
Next speaker is Sue, and I don't want to botch the last name, so please come forward. Thank you.
Okay, I just want to say thank you for giving us the opportunity to speak on behalf of this matter. My name is Sue Gucciardi, and I'm a parent of 3 children in the district, ages 14, 11, and 8, all of whom swim for clubs outside the district. My freshman swam modified the last 2 years and is planning on swimming varsity in the upcoming season. I am by no means comfortable speaking in public, but I'm deeply invested in the sport of swimming, and I'm currently living with the numerous issues and aspects associated with not having a pool in our community and district. While I could focus on the challenges faced by members of the swim teams, I'd rather focus on some of the positives a pool could bring to the district and community. My kids got involved in swimming because they started taking swim lessons at a young age. I really don't know how to swim myself, so I made sure my kids knew how to swim because it is such an important life skill for health and safety reasons as well as for enjoyment. Having a pool within our district would benefit the entire community on several levels. Some of these benefits include swim lessons, water safety, learn to swim programs, lifeguarding, to name a few. Kids need to know how to swim, and the earlier the better. Another benefit would be, of course, a competitive swim program, which could include a club program of our own, which I have no doubts would fill up immediately. The community would benefit by being able to use the pool for family and open swim times and by hosting parties for other groups active in the community, in addition to hosting meets and invitationals and sectionals. Much of these benefits would also generate revenue. I feel the benefits would far outweigh any of the negatives, and I know I'm leaving several of the positives out. For my family personally, the lack of a pool within the community or district has presented other issues that never occurred to me when my children decided to swim several years ago. Forming friendships within our own community and district have suffered because they are swimming anywhere from 4 to 6 days a week in a neighboring district with kids from a neighboring town. And then just kind of going on the Henniger thing, the daily commute to a pool in the city can be considered hazardous, I guess, per se, but also the drive time of an hour and a half or so round trip detracts from additional time these student athletes could be home doing their homework and or resting up for the next day, in addition to other activities within the community or with their own families. There have been several issues, I guess, with rats in the pool at the current facility we're using. There have been complaints about the ventilation and water quality, and the most obvious issue that has come to light is the infestation of bed bugs. These kids shouldn't have to wrap their book bags and swim gear in garbage bags and keep them on the pool deck in order to practice a sport they love. Some of the poorest schools in the state have pools or access to a facility right in their own community. I've heard that many districts have received funding or grants to offset much of the costs associated with it. I'm sure most of you by now have seen that article circulating about the Clyde Savannah School District. Thank you.
Thank you, Sue. The next speaker is, I believe it's Jana Kulikowski. I'm saying that correctly?
Good evening, and thank you for your time and consideration of what I have to say tonight. My name is Jana Kulikowski, and I'm speaking on behalf of myself, my husband, and our 2 girls who are both on the CNS Modified Swim Team. I'm also speaking for the CNS Swim family and for our local community. My family's first experience with modified sports was last year when our oldest was in 7th grade. We were so excited for the fall season and had no clue the pitfalls of having a swim team with no pool. Within days, we were hearing about the long and overcrowded bus rides. Then it was the overcrowded pool with 25 girls swimming in 2 lanes and the poor condition of the pool. Within a week, we received our first letter from the school about a man hiding in the Henniger locker room and the police being called. Thereafter, on 2 different occasions, the girls were not allowed off the bus while police investigated clown sightings. As you can imagine, we began questioning why we were allowing our 12-year-old daughter to be on the swim team. After swim season, our daughter was on the modified basketball and track teams. What a difference. The bus rides were much shorter, the facilities were far better, and the police were never called. And that's because CNS has facilities for all other sports but for the swim team. This year, our youngest daughter joined the team, and we thought we were more prepared. However, this year, the bus ride is even longer. My oldest, who is now in 8th grade, has a tough schedule and has no time after school to do her homework like other athletes during sports study hall. Instead, she rides the bus for an hour and a half to 2 hours every day after school while the bus makes numerous stops back and forth between schools. Practice is shortened so the kids can get home before 6:15 and have time to do their homework. As I'm sure you're all aware, we're also dealing with bed bugs at Henniger and the girls having been given trash bags to keep their belongings safe. We all just grin and bear it because the girls love swimming and we love watching them swim. Our biggest hope is that you will let the district vote for a pool because it will greatly benefit our kids and their very dedicated coaches by, among other things, reducing travel time and providing a safer environment with much improved facilities. A pool will also benefit our local community. What you might not know is that there is a great need for a pool in our area, and the district would have absolutely no problem renting out a pool. We've been YMCA members for years where the pool time is limited. We've also tried to join the Liverpool Jet Swim Club, but they have a long waiting list. Adding a pool to the district would not only benefit student athletes and students in PE class, but it would benefit all ages in the community during long winter months when exercising and family activities are greatly limited. Eventually, the pool would pay for itself with swim clubs, championship meets, and community organizations all vying for its use. Please give it a chance and allow the school district to finally vote on adding a pool to our community. You will not regret it. Thank you.
Thank you, Jen. Jean Vanette?
Hi, good evening. I am a mother of two swimmers, a boy and a girl. My son will be on the modified team this year. My daughter's been on the modified team for 2 years and on the varsity team for 2 years. I'm here on behalf of the swimming and diving program in the district. We have a very successful program thanks to our awesome coaches. They have been able to work around some very difficult circumstances behind not having a swimming facility of our own. We as parents, and I know I can speak on behalf of my daughter, are very thankful that she is able to be part of a scholastic swim team and has somewhere to practice her sport. With that being said, the conditions are less than fair. These athletes have long bus rides to and from practice that lessen their practice time, lessen their homework time, and lessen their family time. My daughter would be here tonight, but she said she had to go home and get some homework done. But she's here in spirit. Our home facility is so far that our spectators that we get for support are family and close friends. Never do we get the chance to have student support from others because it's too far of a commute for them to get to Lemoyne. The ventilation within that facility is fair at best, and I know if you read some of the letters that were sent to you, this was addressed as a concern. A pool would be beneficial to our entire community, the district as well as the public. It is not just the swimmers that are using pools for their training purposes. Our track team was practicing in the morning all summer long at the Schiller Park pool. I asked my students if they were aware that we even had a swim team, and most were, but a few were not. I then asked if they would like to have a pool in the district that the team and other athletes may be able to utilize and the community as well. It was an overwhelming yes. And that was a push for the petition that was sent around. And as you can see by the petition that was given to all of you, there is much support by the student body, teachers, and taxpayers within the district. I am asking you to put this up for a vote on a referendum. Thank you.
Next item on the agenda, 4A, Board Committee Reports, Comments. Any committee reports? Ms. Scanlon.
Thank you. No report, but the next policy committee meeting is 2 weeks from today, October 30th at 5 o'clock.
And the legislative committee met on October 3rd. We had a good discussion, and we're mapping out our plans on equitable funding in the state of New York.
Thank you, Paul. Anything else? Any other board comments? Jackie?
I just want to say, how much I appreciate having a ton of parents here because it's so rare that we have so much advocacy for our kids. Quite often we say, well, we need to hear more from them, and they did what we've asked them to do. They've written letters, and that's the kind of thing that I'm always saying to parents is, write a letter, you'll get more, information that way. But anyway, I just appreciate that kind of advocacy that's going on right now.
Thank you. Anybody else?
I just wanted,
Patrick?
being at the last legislative committee, I hope I'm not stepping on toes here, but we discussed, because the administration's here, we did discuss having some of the biggest, brightest events in your school brought to legislative committee so that help you guys kind of showcase our students and the great things that are going on in the district. And I'm sure that you're going to communicate that at some point, but I just, since they were here, wanted to mention that. And also want to thank the support from the swim parents that are here.
Thank you. Mike?
Just really quick, I really appreciate when people come and share their concerns like this. The advocacy you guys have for the program is great. We've had this in the past for other programs. In saying that something like this would be supportive for the community, I think you're right, and I would encourage everybody to, in addition to speaking to the school district, go to the local town and municipalities and advocate for something like this in their area as well. Much like we do with the Twin Rinks in Cicero, the Cicero Commons was never completed with a pool. So I would suggest you direct some of your concerns to Cicero to help push in that way as well. But I appreciate everybody for their comments, so thank you.
Anybody else? Thank you. Superintendent's comments. Annette?
So yes, I have a few good news items, which I'll hold. And I am going to speak about the pool, but Mr. Sabota reminded me, yes, we did at Legislative Committee talk about the fact that we have a lot of good stuff going on in our schools, and we would like to invite our legislators on a more regular basis to see what we're all about. And so I did, as a follow-up to that meeting, communicate with all the building principals, and I think I've already heard back from half of them in terms of things that are planned throughout the year in their building that we will be inviting legislators to. That is underway. So without further ado, I am going to speak briefly about the whole pool concept. First of all, I really do want to thank people for being here. It is wonderful to see such passion behind your cause and the fact that you really do believe that we need this for the community and for our kids. So here's kind of where we are with things. I don't believe a pool has been put up for a vote since 1992. And I'm dating myself now, but I was a teacher in the district at that time, and I did serve on the committee for that referendum. Unfortunately, as we know, the referendum got voted down. In recent years, I think more recently, we're now coming off a really bad economic time where we cut over 200 positions and many clubs and activities and so forth. And so due to that, and with respect to the taxpayers and the economic situation, I think thoughts of a pool were kind of put on hold, maybe longer than they should have been. Many of you here tonight, and many who aren't here, have written letters. Please be assured that all of the people sitting around this table, my administrative cabinet and all board members, have received those letters and will continue to receive any letters that come in either for or we've gotten a few on the other side as well. But any letters that come in, whether it's for a pool or anything else, please be assured that people will see them. You're probably wondering why there's been no response. We have been doing a little bit of work behind the scenes, and we plan to, Mrs. Gibson's awesome at being able to search through email and come up with a list of all the people that have written letters so that we can, in the very near future, send a written response to you in terms of what our plan is. And our plan at this point is to put a study committee together. Mr. Keegan and I had an opportunity to meet. Assemblyman Sturpey was with us, partially because we're trying to separate fact from rumor. We're a big district, and sometimes I feel like it's the telephone game we used to play when we were kids. Information gets distorted, twisted, and I'm not saying intentionally, but sometimes there's stuff floating around out there that's not exactly factual. But we had an opportunity recently to meet with both the swim coaches and Assemblyman Sturpey and representative from his office, and our plan is in the very, very near future to put a study committee together. We're in the process of trying to determine a facilitator who will be somebody that's not closely involved, not employed by the school district, not a swim parent, but somebody who's a good facilitator that can just kind of take us through a process so that we can learn about the things that we need to learn about, including what's the appropriate size for the pool, what's the best location. Is the best location somewhere in this community, perhaps other than owned specifically by the school district, or is the best option to be part of the school district? I don't think there's anybody around this table that does not agree with the fact that this community needs a pool for a variety of reasons. So I think everyone is supportive with that concept. We just have to make sure that we know all the options and what that means for us, and certainly understand the cost in terms of how it would be funded. So you will be hearing more wanted to kind of get that out. Thank you for being here tonight and being so passionate. In the short term, we are also exploring other options in terms of if there's any other locations available that might make it the conditions a bit better for our teams in terms of practice locations. And I don't have an answer on that yet, but we're attempting to look into some things. So now on to some good news things. It's my understanding that we had a league and divisional championship win for golf. I would like to congratulate Coach Mike Fenlon, who recently, last week, coached his last home game for soccer after 32 years of hard work and dedication. So that's quite a record. And it's hard to believe, but fall sports are already coming to a close. And with that, Wednesday night boys soccer will be playing at Gillette against Henniger for the sectionals at 6:30. Girls soccer will be on the road at FM Friday night at 6 p.m. also for sectionals. Field hockey next Monday at Baldwinsville versus playing against FM, but they'll be playing at Baldwinsville. And last but not least, our football team remains undefeated, and they will be playing CBA Friday night at Bragman Stadium at 7 p.m. So we hope to see many of you at these events, and we wish all those teams the best of luck.
Thank you, Annette. Next set of items, routine action items, 5A, B, C, D, and E. A, consideration of approval of the minutes of the regular meeting of the Board of Ed on October 2, 2017. B, consideration of classification and school placement of disabled students certified by the District Committee on Special Education. C, consideration of classification and placement of preschool disabled students certified by the District Committee on Preschool Special Education. D, consideration of classification and placement of students in home instruction programs as recommended by the Home Instruction Review Committee. And E, acknowledgement of business office reports for June 2017. I'll entertain a motion to take 5A, B, C, D, E as a group and approve such. Mr. Leon and Ms. Scanlon, all in favor? So moved. Discussion items. Advanced placement and Regents Results. Mr. LeClaire. Yeah, yeah.
So as people are filtering out, students and others that are here, feel free to make yourselves a little more comfortable. And I'm so happy that so many participation in government students are here this evening, because you're certainly seeing government at work.
Yep. Are you ready, Mr. LeClaire?
Ready.
Okay.
Good evening, everybody. All right, so we're going to share with the results from the 2016-17 school year with our Regents results and our AP results. So I'm going to start with the Regents results, and what you'll see is 2 slides for every content. You'll see how we've done over the past 3 years, except for English and math, as we transitioned to the Common Core 2 years ago. And then the second slide from each content will be the breakdown of how students scored. Okay? Want me to wait until Mr. Spivota gets? Okay. All right. So I'll start with English. This is a 2-year trend, and we do very well in this content area, above 90% each year. Here's our breakdown of where students scored. U.S. history is another exam we do very well in. Past 3 years, over 90%. And our breakdown. 85 to 100 is where we really want to be. All right, then global history. Usually a tough exam for students, and as you can see, we've made a nice increase over the past 3 years. We stayed the same from last year at 86%. Here's our breakdown. All right, let me just talk a little bit about global history as the landscape of this exam is changing. This year, the state informed us that they are transitioning. So one of the things about the global exam is that it's always been a 2-year exam. So students are responsible for knowing material for 2 years, which can be very difficult. So they're calling it the transition exam. That's going to start this June. January will be the last time that this exam of the old format is offered. So what they'll be doing, which I think is a good thing, is that they'll be testing students on just the 10th grade material, which is 1750 to the present. The exam doesn't really change all that much. The format, they're going to kind of keep it the same, except for the multiple choice will be reduced to 30 questions, which will account for 55% of their score. They'll have one thematic essay, one DBQ with an essay. So that's called the transition exam. And that's going to be offered June 5th, as you know, yes.
What about the other half of global history, the ancient history?
So that's the 9th grade level? No. Nope. So they're just going to be testing on the 10th grade material.
Okay.
All right. So we have the transition exam. And then in June 2020 is going to be the new framework exam. So it's going to change again. All right. We don't know exactly what that looks like yet. More information will come. But I'll just give you a little summary of what that exam is going to entail. So at 25 to 30 multiple choice questions. They'll have 3 constructed response questions and then an extended essay, which the students will be giving like an issue, that how it affects society, and then they'll have to write an argumentative essay. So to prepare for that exam, we're going to work with the English department because writing argumentatively is part of the Common Core. So we're going to start doing some interdisciplinary work, get the social studies team and the English team together to see how they can help prepare our students for that in June of 2020. So we still have some time, but it's just you start getting used to an exam and then they change it again. So, but we'll make do, and I think we'll be okay. All right, so living environment is the next exam. We do very well with this, 3 years, over 90%. Our breakdown. Chemistry, 3 years, over 80%. And here's our breakdown. This is just regular chemistry. Yep. Physics, remember this is just our building, but overall, including the freshmen, we scored 84%, but this is just the high school. And then our breakdown. Remember, the freshmen that are on the honors track, they've already taken, the students on the honors track, they took that as freshmen. All right, Algebra 2. So we transitioned to Common Core in 2016. We made a nice leap here from 72% to 83%. Here's our breakdown. So as you know, going before Common Core, Algebra 2 trigonometry used to be one of the toughest exams that the students would take in mathematics. So with that said, not knowing what the transition, we scored 72%. What we did this year is we added an Algebra 2 workshop class. Okay, this is for extra support. So we built it right into the students' schedules. We identified students based on their historical data, how they've done in their math, and then teacher recommendation. So with that, it's built in their schedule. They got it every other day, that extra support, helping out with the concepts and skills that these students lacked. 76% of them passed the class, and then 59% of them passed the exam as well. So I think this class helped those students and gave them the support. And I'll tell you this, we had, and my administrative team that are here, they can attest to this, that we had students coming up and thanking us for starting this class. I got parent phone calls thanking for building in support right in the school day, where sometimes they had to go outside and get tutors. So I think that helped. Now, with Algebra 2 trigonometry, going pre-Common Core, geometry has now become the exam where the state it's the most rigorous math exam. So here we have the 2-year trend. First year, and then we made an increase. So with that, this year, we added geometry workshop to assist our students, and we have 131 students scheduled this year. And again, reinforcing those skills and concepts through a workshop model. All right, any questions before we go to the AP on the Regents? Yes, Ms. Scanlon.
First of all, thank you so much for implementing those workshops. And is there a waiting list for those? How do you get the word out for others?
Well, that's where the counselors have helped us with that, plus our teachers, especially with geometry. They're right in our building. But the junior high counselors have helped us a lot with Algebra 2, some of those sophomores. So just so you know, looking at our math sequence is something we're really looking at. What is going to benefit our students? The geometry is really, it's a standalone course, and there's no sequence to it. So we have piloted students, sophomores, into Algebra 2 from Algebra 1. So we have 3 years of data that we'll be looking at the end of this year to see what sequence will benefit our students. And I personally believe that we should go Algebra 1, Algebra 2, geometry in their junior year. There's 14 standards that overlap from Algebra 1 to Algebra 2, and I just think it's that nice progression. So I'll report back on that, what the data tells us, but we are going to look at that, because right now we have a combination. Any other questions on the Regents data before I move on to AP? Okay. All right, so this shows you how many exams we've given over the past 3 years in the AP classes. Where it says world history, it's not a class taught, but we allow our students to challenge the exam. AP World History will be offered at the high school next year. Right now, which is a good thing, is that there are 5 sections of ninth graders taking the first part of AP World down at the junior high, which I think is great. I think it exposes our students at a ninth, as freshmen, to a higher level, rigorous class. And I think that'll help us when they come up and transition to the high school to challenge themselves and take more AP classes and offerings that we offer. And then we'll teach the second part of world history, AP World, at the high school. European history will be offered as a senior elective next year, okay? But we had an increase in students taking AP this year, 75 additional exams, so that increased. And then these next 2 slides will show you how we scored, 3 or better. We did not offer those due to numbers. But we are offering AP Chem again this year and computer science. We're trying to promote that. Trying to get kids into looking at the computer field. So what we did is, the problem is with computer science, what's after that? There's nothing after that. So we're looking at adding AP jobs, I know. And that's where, you're right. And that's where we're trying to really promote that. But we're going to add AP computer science with principals. So now we can make that and promote that way. All right. Any questions? Okay. Thank you.
Thanks, Bill.
Thank you, Bill.
Yep.
Discussion action items. 7A, the resolution authorizing a tree exchange.
I just have to comment.
You got to comment on this, Annette.
So I've dealt with a lot of unusual things since I've been superintendent, but this really caught us by surprise. We received a letter a couple of weeks ago saying that a tree on the high school property had been scouted out and selected as the possible holiday tree for Clinton Square. Just totally, we had nothing to do with this. And then last week we got the letter that our tree was the tree that they wanted. So we looked into that, and this resolution is the board authorizing the donation of the tree for ornamental purposes for the holiday tree that will be in Clinton Square. And as an exchange, the city of Syracuse will plant a tree and donate a tree back. And we're taking a look at where might be the best location for that new tree to be planted. So we're pretty excited about this. I think it's kind of an honor and a nice thing for the community.
So resolution to do so? Donate. Jackie? Aaron? All in favor? Okay, take the tree. 7BCD, we'll look together the recommendation to create a 4/10 FTE special ed at St. Margaret's. C, recommendation to create a 1.0 FTE LPN at CNS High School. And D, recommendation to create an additional 0.5 FTE ENL to a newly created 0.5 FTE ENL to create a 1.0 ENL. So B, C, and D is a group. Motion to approve. Mr. Swoboda, Mr. Maurizio, all in favor? E, Gaylord Brothers versus the Town of Cicero, a rather lengthy resolution in which we authorize the district attorneys to prepare for and litigate the Gaylord Brothers tax fiduciary matter through trial unless a favorable settlement can be obtained, and also authorizing an expenditure of up to $2,800 for expert trial expenses. Have a motion and second on this one, please. Mr. Leon, Mr. Fufalia, roll call. Connie? Aye.
Aye.
Yes.
Okay, the ayes have it. F, the resolution authorizing participation in the NISMEC, which is New York Schools Municipal Energy Consortium for electricity, and G, authorizing participation in NISMEC for natural gas. We'll have a motion to approve F and G together. Mr. Leon, Ms. Scanlon, all in favor. H, a designated gift toward the purchase of the new scoreboard at Michael Bragman Stadium. The Jeffrey Gates Foundation has donated $1,000 to the North Syracuse School District scoreboard scholarship contract. And I, acknowledgement of gifts. In partnership with the California Casualty Awards for Teaching Excellence, the NEA Foundation awarded Amy Heisick, New York State Teacher of the Year, with a gift of $650 for the CNS High School to use as they see fit. Number 2, Gene Atkins, a retired Main Street EEP physical therapist, has donated therapeutic materials including weighted balls, water pumpers, and a giant reading book valued at $250. Number 3, the Jaradat family donated a tadpole standing frame valued at $2,400 to the Main Street Early Education Program. Number 4, Gillette Road Middle School received the New York State School Boards Association in conjunction with SUNY Polytechnic Institute with the 2017 Be the Change for Kids Innovation Award of $5,000. And 5, the Gillette Road Middle School PTG donated the North Central School District $13,500 to pay for the cost of the energy fitness system located at Gillette Road Middle School. So we'll take H and I as together. Approval of all the gifts. Jackie and George, all in favor? J, request to approve the corrective action plan for the management letters required by the Office of the State Comptroller. The motion is to approve the corrective action plan as required by the State Comptroller. Pardon me? I'll let Don do it.
Sure. Every year when our auditors, Grossman, Santa Moore, do their audit, they find some things that they recommend. Hey, you should think about changing this, or this would be a better idea in the way you handle things. And so we had two things. They wanted us to tighten up our year-end accounting for accounts payable. We had some 2 invoices that were paid in 17-18 that related to 16-17 due to the delayed billing situation. So they gave us some ideas on how we might tighten that up, and we agreed with their recommendation, and we'll take those. And the other one is with the changes in accounting, they would like to see us record our liabilities, our long-term liabilities, on our balance sheet differently than we're currently getting those into our financial statements each year. And great recommendations, and we're going to go ahead and do that as well. So just two suggestions. Last year they had a few little suggestions which we took care of, and these are new ones.
Is there a motion to approve the corrective action plan? Mr. Leon, Mr. Sabota, all in favor? A, surplus of non-marketable and marketable equipment. The action is to declare that non-marketable equipment as surplus equipment to be disposed of, and marketable surplus which has some value of others be disposed of through an online auction conducted by Auctions International. Motion for such? Mr. Murzio, Mr. Fufalia, all in favor? Carried. 8, personnel. 8A, instructional personnel. Questions on that we need to discuss? And B, support staff personnel. Any questions there? All right, we'll take a motion to approve A and B together. Mr. Harrington, Mr. Leon, all in favor? Motion for executive session. Motion to move into executive session for the purpose of hearing a parental appeal of a superintendent's decision, to review 2 legal matters relative to potential litigation, and to review the employment record of 2 individuals with action to follow on the parental appeal. Motion for executive session. Mr. Murzio, Mr. Fufalia, all in favor? We'll adjourn at 8:07. Students come